Hello everybody. In this video, I'm going to talk about why you should not do an MBA right now in India. Don't get me wrong, I am a staunch advocate of doing an MBA at any given point in time, but right now is a very difficult period. I personally attended INSEAD, have gained a lot, loved my year at INSEAD and would highly recommend. But let me tell you the reasons why this is not the right time, specifically in India. So let's get started with the video, and I would love to hear counter arguments for every single point if you have any. And let's make it a healthy debate rather than getting into any kind of mudslinging. So let's start with the first point. That is, the top business schools in the country right now are facing difficulties with respect to placing their students. I'm talking about IIM Ahmedabad. I'm talking about ISB, the best schools in the country. If these schools are facing difficulties, what happens to tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 schools? And how am I talking about that? Well, Ken published a wonderful article, a series of articles named Day Zero. I'll give you the link to that article in the description box. You can go check it out by yourself. But it has very clearly mentioned how almost all the top business schools are currently struggling to place their students. Add on top of that, the fees of these courses have also increased dramatically. For ISB, it increased from 36 lakhs per annum to 42 lakhs per annum. The fees, the annual fees. IIM Ahmedabad's PGPX, one of the top one-year courses, has increased its fees from 28 lakhs 1 to 2 years back to now it is almost 32 lakhs. All the campuses in the country have increased their fees. Well, we do MBA because we want a great ROI. Now, the great ROI means we are looking at higher salary compared to last year's because we are also paying higher fees. But unfortunately, the fees is increasing while the salaries are coming down. In ISB, according to the Ken's report, the salaries have come down from 34 lakhs average CTC to less than 30 lakhs. Even in the IIM Ahmedabad's one-year executive program, the salaries have come down from 35 lakh LPA to almost 30 lakh per LPA, which means a negative ROI or a decline in ROI compared to last 1 or 2 years. And they are also increasing the number of students in these classes. ISB now has a record 900 plus students across its Hyderabad and Mohali campuses. ISB, IIM Bangalore, all of these guys have increased their overall intake and they have struggled to place students in their internships. Now that's a huge red flag. Now the second issue I want to highlight is it's not just tough job market, but also the satisfaction or the quality of the jobs that you aspire to get would become very tricky to accomplish. And why do I say that? Because the total job market itself is difficult. The number of high-paying jobs in the market has gone down significantly. You can attribute it to the startup hiring slowdown or the macro environment. Whatever are the reasons, the effect is on the business school recruitments. And what happens because of that? People who have experience in the same field are given priority. If McKinsey, BCG, Bain are recruiting 10 students instead of 20 students, they would rather prefer the 10 students to have prior consulting experience. So the career pivoting becomes difficult. And what does career pivots mean? It means that, hey, if you are an IT sector employee, you go do an MBA because you want to switch into management, you want to switch into product, or you want to switch into finance. These kind of pivots become extremely difficult. And hence, while you might still end up getting a job, the satisfaction would be very low. And that is one of the big reasons whenever you see during a downturn, economic downturn like 2008, 2009 financial crisis, or 2017 demonetization, or 2020 the COVID impact, or even right now, people get jobs through business schools, but they end up leaving the jobs in a very short span, like 6 to 8 months. I'm not speaking out any of these numbers based on assumptions. I have done my research and I'm giving you the links to these articles in the description box. Please do check them out if you want to get more info on these claims. So the whole point of spending 30 to 40 lakhs on an education so that you can pivot your career and get into your dream job that entire hypothesis is now proving to be wrong. That's the second reason. The first reason we've already noticed, that the overall class size is more and the fees are increasing while the jobs are reducing. The second reason is you are not even getting the job that you desire. Combine these two things and think about what would be happening in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 schools. A lot of people might say, hey, you will still get a job. I agree, but what is the point of spending so much money, and what is the point of spending 2 years on the campus? Absolutely nothing. The third reason is because the IIMs, the top universities in the country, have more than 50% students without any work experience. And when career pivots become difficult, what are the roles that any fresher would be offered? So it would be great if you have any kind of work experience. For example, in IIM Bangalore, you can get exempted from the overall internship placement cycle if you have more than 3 years experience. Rather than getting into an internship that you don't like, just move out of the entire process itself. A lot of students have to do these mandatory internships because it is their first interaction with the industry, and that interaction, that internship will decide what is their final offer campus placement going to be when they leave the campus. Now you might say, hey Pavan, this argument is not good because when I get into the campus in 2024, I graduate in 2026. So the job market would be better by that time. I agree. But your final placement depends a lot on your internship. And when does your internship offer roll in? Your internship offers would start coming in by October, November 2024. So less than 10 months from now. Hence, if you don't have work experience to bank on, you are still depending on the current job market. And there are a lot of macro uncertainties right now. Towards the end of 2024, one of the biggest macro trends indicator would roll out. That is the US elections. Depending on who wins the elections, a lot of MNCs would be enthusiastically recruiting, or they don't want to recruit. We still don't know who would actually come in and get elected as the US president. The fifth reason is when you have more than 50% students as freshers in the MBA classroom, the learnings would most likely come from your professors. Look at INSEAD. The average experience of students is 7 years. Can you imagine Indian universities having 7 years experienced business school students? On other hand, US business schools have on an average 4 years experience. Well, we Indians are always in a rush to complete the education. A lot of people have come to me and I asked them, why are you in such a hurry to complete your education? And the standard answer that I receive is because I'm not sure if I'll still be interested in education. Guys, if you are not interested in education at that point in time, nobody is forcing you to do an MBA. Neither nobody is forcing you to do an MBA right now. It's not just an additional degree. You should know the value of a business degree because it's not cheap. It's again 30 to 40 lakhs. So give yourself that time. Make sure you are ready and apply those practical learnings. In that scenario, probably an international business school would work very well because in the Indian context, 99% of the placements are through just campus placements office. On the other hand though, if you are looking for placements from schools like INSEAD, almost 20 to 40% of the students are placed through their own networks. So networks would kick in. A lot of people have work experience friends, so they also start inviting their friends into their prior professional networks. So give it a good thought. Even now, when IIM Calcutta and IIM Bangalore had tough days basically placing their students, they send a note to all the alumni and ask them, can you help the current batch students get a good stipend? That is the power of network. If all the students in the classroom themselves have previous work experience and networks, you can see the advantage. You don't even have to rely on campus for sending these bulk WhatsApp messages. You can just rely on your personal conversation. So please don't ignore this prior work experience and just wait it out. There is no rush in doing an MBA. The value would be much more if you have practical learning versus theoretical learning. And again, just to end the video, I want to re-emphasize the point that I myself am an MBA grad and I would never ever say don't do an MBA at all. It is just the timing right now is absolutely worse. Just look at the job market and you will realize what I'm talking about. Thank you so much guys. We'll see you again in the next one. Bye bye.